So fun, so fun, so fun.
Hey, hey, hey.
What's going on, Kristen?
What do you think of my hair circa 1978?
I love it. I love it. When did you get that done?
Well, I can't. I'm like not allowed to talk about specific project names, unfortunately. But every once in a while, when I get a chance, I like to do a little bit of acting on the side. So I was working on a project yesterday
Oh,
that is
cool.
set in 1978. So I got to
That is
wear
awesome.
1978 clothes and got this sweet hairstyle, which I slept in and it still looks the same, which tells you how much
That looks
hairspray I
great.
had.
I really like it. I was gonna ask, so you're not allowed to talk about those projects until they actually come out. They make you sign like an NDA or something like that?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
So I can say it was a project with a major streaming service and it should start airing in the spring at some point. So it's like a limited series. And then the first thing that kind of got me into this, I could probably say it was a Robert Rodriguez movie, but that's about it. But once it's out, I can talk about it. Now, Walker, we can talk a little bit about because it already aired. So that was that little shot I sent you, which was kind of fun.
darn it. Ah, can't wait. Can't
It'll
wait to
be
see
fun,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think like did you get like a big part or just like a mini?
Um, in that one, I got to be a villain. So it's not a speaking part. It's just actually it's a lot of action, which is really fun. But I got to be a bad guy, which was super cool. I did some of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. And then today, I got a booking for a local commercial, which is really exciting. So that one would be fun. Yeah.
If you ever become famous, can I just have your autograph right now, please?
if if I ever become famous, I'm bringing you with me. Are you kidding? You're my partner.
We're family.
Right.
That's awesome. So
No,
excited
real
for you.
estate is still 100% the main thing.
Awesome.
This these are like little one day or half a day every 6 or
Well,
7.
yeah, but later on, I can offer my clients like, if you want to sign with DNA Real Estate, we have a famous person that works in the team, right?
You can see her on
Of
TV.
course, you can have everyone can go have lunch together. Of course, she will sign your T-shirt.
Actually, it's really funny because I an agent I used like years ago, so long before I met you, David. Um, definitely one of the pitches was
Our next topic: cheating.
no joke, right? No, she had been on House Hunters, and so
Oh,
that
that's so cool.
definitely helped her a lot. And she's like a stunningly beautiful woman. So when I met her, I was like, "Yep, I can see why." She was also a great agent. She's still a great agent. Love her.
I mean, I can
But
I can put some extensions and I can powder myself. Let's do it. You think I can make it?
of course you could. Of course you could.
I'm gonna
But
give it a
yeah,
shot.
that's what's going on with us. How about you? What's going on in your house?
Don't get mad. Don't get mad. I'm gonna tell you what I did this weekend, and it's actually gonna be a great hook for our topic today, which is COVID. Um, I went to Vegas.
So that's where you were.
I went to Vegas, and nobody's happy with me. Wife is pissed off. Um, but it was I needed to. So my cousin is getting married in March, and they did the bachelor party. I did my best to be able to take care of myself in terms of like putting double mask, trying to keep my distance. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was extremely hard to do in those type of places. But for anybody that knows, I'm having my kid in March, so I'm not gonna be able to attend his wedding. And he was the least I could do is try to show up for his bachelor. So it was kind of tough taking that decision. Really, really hard because we've been taking care of our family since all of this COVID thing started. We haven't gone out. When we go out to restaurants, it needs to be outside. We try to keep our distance. I mean, even when we meet our clients, how we do it. So when we made this decision of actually going, well, myself going, uh, it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard to get a yes, to get permission from the boss. Um, and there's so many things that go behind it, right? Now that I'm back, I'm actually they almost moved me out of the house. So I had to go get tested already yesterday, just to make sure that I'm okay. And I got it back actually already. It came back negative, but I'm also gonna go get tested on the 29th just in case. But so far, no symptoms. Came back with 5K. So that's the only thing that that's keeping the wife happy right now. Um, but yeah, let's. I think that's a great introduction to the topic that we're going
To
to
our
talk about.
topic. Yes. Although I was going to do our little local highlight. Let me throw that in there because I'm
Yes,
really
yes.
excited
What's
about
going
it.
on? What do you have?
So,
Let's talk about it.
yeah, so
Local highlight.
yes, we want to we're going to definitely talk about like local restaurants and local businesses. So if you have one or know of one, let us know. We want to hear about it. But I am so excited about this place. It is called The Thirsty Chicken in Leander. And I'm gonna roll some footage here in a second with them. But this is really exciting because I used to be a teacher, and this is a family of, I taught some of these kids. So I watched them grow up, and now they've, got their own family restaurant. And what's really cool about it is that we have vegetarians and meat eaters in our family. So sometimes finding a place to eat is really hard, and they have everything. So here we go. I'm gonna roll some footage from The Thirsty Chicken. Yes. Okay. So tell me, how did you guys come up with the idea for the Thirsty Chicken?
So this is actually my family's restaurant. This used to be our water softener business office, but no one really used it. So we decided to turn it into a restaurant. The fun decor and the livelihood is all my mom. My mom, that's my sister.
Yeah, I know your sister. Hi, Mom. Yeah, the place has got such a great vibe, no question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long have you guys been open?
So we've been open for 3 months now. So with that comes the growing pains of learning and adjusting, but we're getting a lot of positive feedback. So
you're killing it. You are truly.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just wanted to say hey to everybody and let you guys know how it's like literally my favorite place. It was our go-to throughout the playoffs for football.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad to know your family
you.
and all the success.
Thank you.
Go Thirsty
so much.
Chicken. We've only ever ordered like the wings. So so my family are huge wings fans, and they have these amazing French fries that are like super thick, like home fries, but they kind of twist a little.
Uh-huh.
So good.
Delicious.
So their homemade sauces though are the thing, and they've got various kinds, various levels of hotness and spiciness.
Delicious.
So they're great. It's
Do they
so
have
good.
do you know if they have like a spicy chicken sandwich?
I'm sure they do. I will absolutely check it out when I go.
No, I want to go too. I want to go try it out. Do you know if they have outdoor seating?
You know what? Tom's just done pickup to this point, so I don't know. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So maybe you and I could go over there together.
Sounds good.
If you don't have COVID, David.
I know that was coming, and I know I feel bad now that I'm back. I feel like shit because it's there's so many things that go behind it, right? Like now that I'm back, the only way I get close to my family is with the freaking mask. They have to wear the mask as well. I don't get to sleep in the same bed until I actually come back with the test on the 29th. And it's so hard not being with them for a couple of days, coming back and not being able to hug them. Wife is pregnant, so trying to help out around the house, it's a little bit difficult. So did I make the wrong decision going to Vegas?
Well, I mean, okay, there's no easy answer here. And as a family that has been crazy careful because my husband and I both have autoimmune conditions, and then the one child that we have left living in this house has a heart condition. So we've been crazy careful too, but I still understand it. That's why I'm really excited to talk about today. I wanted to sort of go macro first, back out and look at the overall picture, sort of, so that we're not stuck seeing, we can't see the forest for the trees kind of a thing. But just going way out, I've heard some terms around lately, and I think it's been a little bit confusing. So I just wanted to bring those up. So, what is the difference? When does an epidemic become a pandemic? When does a pandemic become endemic?
Interesting.
And
What you got?
I talked to my friend who was a doctor. She gave me a little bit of information. She's this isn't her area of expertise, so she wasn't comfortable saying too much. But I also found there was like a really great NBC Albany news article specifically about this process. The answer is there's no clear answer in terms of pandemic to endemic, but epidemic is when something is just sort of local to a spot. So it became a global pandemic. So it went from epidemic to pandemic. Epidemic would be like, hey, 24 kids have the stomach flu at your kid's school. That's like there's an epidemic of stomach flu. Pandemic is when it's everyone in the world is experiencing it. It's global and it's interfering day-to-day life. So clearly we're there.
No, we're definitely there.
So we've been there for 2 years, going on 2 years, right? Yeah. Now, the question, this is what the big question has been, especially with Omicron, okay, is it going to endemic? Endemic is the idea that like everybody's going to get it or everyone's going to be exposed to it, kind of a thing. People don't usually die from it. There's usually, when something's truly an endemic, like what we think of as influenza or the flu virus, there's usually only like one new strain a season, and they can vaccinate for that specific strain. So like flu has been with us for hundreds of years, and we've been able to build up our own immunity and fight it in such a way that there's only really generally like one big strain of it a year. The problem is Omicron is definitely, it's exposing tons of people, and it's people are getting it even if they're boosted and are vaccinated and boosted. They're getting it much less severely. So still by far the multiple, most people that are getting it are people that are not vaccinated. But what's hard is that they're not ready to say that this is the last strain for a while. So the prediction I saw on that NBC Albany report was they think it will be a much slower process. So like this year, maybe we'll only see 4 or 3 strains, which could mean 3 or 4 waves. And then the following year, if we're lucky, it'll only be 2. And then the following year, if we're lucky, it might be 1. So going into the endemic phase, they're basically saying COVID's with us to stay. It's just a matter of, are we going to have multiple variations of it any given year versus 1 a year? So does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I mean, it brings the question up, should we all just get it now? Okay,
so that's it. And I think everybody's at that place. So what I wanted to respond to what you were saying about your trip. I think it doesn't matter how, like some people are super, super careful, and some people are like over it and they're just tired, right? Or maybe it's not real to them. The truth is, the more that we get it, so the more people that get infected, the more chance the virus has of mutating again. Usually mutations, if we're lucky, they often will get milder, is what I read, because if the whole thing is that the virus wants to replicate, if you think about the virus like a living creature, right? It wants to replicate. So if it can make you miserable but keep you alive, then it has a longer chance to spread and infect other people. So that's why sometimes they become more infectious and less lethal as time goes on. Which is why I have definitely started to hear from my own family and from everyone around me, like, okay, well, we're just going to get it and get it over with. The hard part about that, there was an article from Baylor College of Medicine, just up the road here. And the problem is, first of all, it does allow for more mutations, but really the problem is long haul COVID. They're saying at minimum, so possibly more, but around 10% of people who get COVID, some that even don't have any symptoms when they first get it, can have long-term symptoms following their sickness. So my son is like a textbook case of this for us right now, right? 22-year-old guy, super healthy, vaxxed, boosted, super careful, works retail. He had been exposed like twice, managed not to get it. And then finally, after the third exposure, in his own apartment, he did. He finally tested positive, and it was pretty mild. It was still like 10 days of feeling pretty crappy, but it was pretty mild. And then it was over with. But a few days later, he started getting really painful gastrointestinal symptoms. And so after doing some research and talking to some people, apparently that's a thing. We have receptors close to the gut for this virus. And so the virus can kind of hit that area and make you have longer term stomach problems.
So yeah, I heard it's supposed to last a couple of days, but you're talking, was it actually weeks?
Okay, so are you talking about the initial infection or long haul COVID?
Long haul.
So it varies from person to person, but some people will experience things for months. So some people who got COVID even the first round are still experiencing symptoms 2 years later. Some long haul COVID, like the main one is actually fatigue. So just like fatigue where they just tire really easily, brain fog, rashes, dizziness, headaches. It's interesting to me because I have Epstein-Barr virus that I just try and keep in remission with my diet and stuff. Just trying to be very healthy. I can kind of knock it into remission. And those are my symptoms. Fatigue, headaches, I haven't gotten rashes, but chills. I used to get chills really bad, not be able to really regulate my body temperature. So I think it's just the virus kind of digging in and hanging around. I think how you respond probably affects that. So for me, there are definitely certain foods that viruses, I kind of find this fascinating. So there are certain foods that viruses will thrive on because that is what we use to incubate the virus in the lab. And the main one is eggs, which I thought was crazy. So when they're kind of growing a virus to study it, they grow it in eggs. So that's why if you have like a diet that's really high in eggs and you've got a virus, that can actually help the virus to flourish because that was the food source we gave it when we were studying it. So it's kind of fascinating, but I will tell you, I love eggs. And when I cut them out of my diet, that was when my Epstein-Barr symptoms got much, much better. So as far as the gastrointestinal thing, I mean, there are reports of it lasting a long, long time. And when my son actually reached out to Baylor, they're so backed up. There are so many people experiencing it that the soonest they could see him was July. So that tells you how many people are experiencing this. But it is horrifying because he tried to get up to go to work today, got himself ready for work, and then was not well enough to drive himself there. That's how nauseous he was. So it's a real thing. I mean, I can tell you because I'm witnessing it in my child, but I think that's a reason to still be careful, even if it's only 10%,
No, I mean, and the numbers are high. Even within our counties here, like Travis and Williamson County, I think Travis, last time I researched, was about 200,000 people infected. And Williamson, I think, was a little bit less, like maybe 120K. As far as population, there's definitely more deaths in Travis County than Williamson, but still, I mean, there is a lot of people getting it for sure. But here's my thing. Okay, so I'll play the opposite role here.
Devil's advocate. Do it.
I mean, this decision of going to Vegas was really tough because I've been a good boy ever since it started. Good boy. But you get tired. You get to a point where you feel you need to like just get liberated and say, okay, just today, or it's really hard to explain.
But I get it.
The point where you reach a limit and you're kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna take this risk because I just need it. In my personal life, I need it because I can't be confined within these walls. And and then just, you know what makes it even worse? That you see other people in TikTok, you see other people, you see friends, you see family members having a really great time out at different places, different restaurants, and it's kind of like, why am I doing all of this?
I know.
And not, not everybody's on the same page. So, we have one, two, three vaccinations already. Um, did put the mask when we were there. Don't really know how much the mask was going to help, to be honest, because it's Vegas. I mean, it's really probably the worst part you can go. But so far, like I said, so good. We don't have got tested yesterday, came back negative, and then the 29th, I think, should be the last test we take. We'll see what happens.
Well, I feel like you're bringing up a really important point, possibly to be expanded on in a whole nother podcast, is that your mental health is really important, David. This trip was good for your soul. It may have been what your soul needed. And I understand how hard it is for your family. And I am this is my opinion, but your family, I think, is handling it really well in terms of you did what you could while you were there, and now coming back, you're isolating yourself, you're
Of
wearing
course.
your mask, you're testing. I feel like it would be a different story if you were like, I give up, I'm just gonna go party, and then you came home and then like, forget it, we're gonna get it anyway. Oh well. I
Yeah.
mean, you also value this family member. So I think we are all making those
Tough decision.
really difficult decisions.
Yeah.
So there was a chance the son that's got the long haul COVID now, there was a chance that he had it right before Christmas, and I was losing my mind. Like Christmas
Oh,
Eve.
wow.
Christmas
Wow.
Eve. Well, because you remember that scare because we had all been exposed. I had been exposed, and then I had met you, and we'd only taken our masks off to drink coffee, but we were freaking out. And then I found out that same day that my son had been exposed at work. So, I mean, it
Crazy.
went from like, I feel like I'm being so careful, I'm a good citizen of the world, to I suck and,
I
I
messed up.
can't win. Um,
And then you feel bad. You feel like
yeah,
shit.
you do. And on the flip side, I want to tell you, I have heard of an experience that was really shocking to me. I have a friend, they've got a phone call from somebody that felt that we were murdering children by making them wear masks to class. And I mean, I'm not joking. Those were the
Wow.
words they used. And the person I work with she's a great human. She's kind of sensitive and full of empathy like I am. And I know it really rattled her because it's the opposite. We are trying so desperately to keep our kids safe. We've had one kid get COVID this whole year, and everybody tested. Nobody else got it because we wore our masks all the time. We're just being so careful. But people are really divided, and I can tell. I don't know if this has been your experience, but you just go out shopping. Um, I think it's fine. Like, you wear your mask, I'll wear mine. If you don't wear yours, fine, whatever. I'm tired of the mask argument. But when someone's like not wearing a mask and you are, when they go out of their way to say something to you, you know, I have a friend who was walking into a grocery store and somebody yelled sheep because she was wearing a mask.
What? You see,
Um,
I haven't seen that yet. What I seen is complete opposite. We were at the grocery store. I think it was already like a month ago, and we were where you have the vegetables, the little area where we were grabbing some tomatoes, I think, or carrots. I forgot what it was, but anyway, um, there was a person that was next to us, no mask. You can clearly see that the guy wasn't healthy. He was sneezing, he was coughing, um, and then he was just like this with his daughter on the side, and just saying, "Oh, these allergies are bad. Oh, these allergies are bad." Even if they are allergies, why don't you just put a damn mask on, uh, just in case, just in the slightest possibility that it is, I mean, I think that that is irresponsible, and I think more people should probably say something in that scenario versus the other way around. Because if somebody's wearing a mask, how does it affect you that you don't wear a mask? I mean, how?
Right. So if you're potentially spreading it to a lot of people, but me wearing a mask isn't going to hurt you. I mean,
Exactly.
that's why. I mean, that's why our family made the decision long ago to live on that side that wasn't going to hurt us or hurt anyone else.
And
Um,
and of course, we're respecting everybody's decision, right? Whether you want to wear it or not. We're not going to call you out on it unless there's this specific scenario, right, where you're clearly not feeling well and you're still going out to the public. You know.
well, yeah,
Um,
that is very hard. And people will say, well, if your child, I've heard this, right? If your child has a heart condition, well, then he just shouldn't leave the house. Well, now my child can't get an education virtually. That's not an option anymore.
that
So
is true.
that child is double masking and not eating the whole school day, waiting till he comes home because he does not want to get it. And he doesn't go out very often. And when he does double mask. But my child is also in therapy because this has been too much. And imagine, oh my goodness, David, can we talk for a second? Imagine, you know what high school is like. You remember, right? A lot
Of
longer
course.
ago for me than for you. But high school is hard enough.
Still
Like
high
you worry
school.
about you worry about what you look like. You think everyone's always thinking something. Now all of a sudden, people are wearing masks, and it's almost like team sports, like shirts versus no shirts. You've got maskers versus non-maskers, and in a high school setting, they don't have the emotional maturity to be kind about it. So my poor kid has taken tons of crap all year long for wearing a double mask.
Wow.
Now so far he has not gotten it. Um, if he does, we will deal with it. We will handle it. But it is the long term effects of the isolation. But I think really it's this back and forth of just feeling like suddenly we are wearing our politics on our face. That's the bottom line. Our politics are on our face. We might as well have it like stamped on our foreheads. And it's really easy for me to be like us against them politics, but I do have beloved friends on both sides of that political spectrum, and I do know that if you were to either side, if you were to sit and watch the information put out to whichever side you believe, right?
Mhm.
I can tell you it's two different, it looks like two different planets. So one acts like it's no big deal and is nothing, is very, says masks are bad, is giving information that masks and vaccines are bad. And one is alarmist and says, we've all got to be careful or we're all going to die. Neither one
So,
is 100% perfect, right? But
so what I think you're trying to tell me is that one watches Fox News and the other one watches CNN. Is that how it works out?
yeah, that was kind of yeah. I mean, uh, yeah, or MSNBC.
Jokingly.
Although we really like tried to stay with just like the major networks for the last couple of years, but uh, people on both sides will say, "Oh, well, they lean too far this way or that way." There's just like
Yeah,
there's
you're never
no
gonna make anybody happy. Like,
no because there's nothing that says like this is the truth.
yeah.
It's just it used to be like a long, long time ago with newspaper, like when newspapers were your source, or like everything had to be fact checked. Anything that was put on television had to be fact checked, had to have reliable sources, and TV is about ratings now, so they can get away with a lot of opinion.
Now it's about who brings it out first versus really what's the truth out there. But I was gonna ask you something. Now they took virtual away. How's I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because my kid is the same thing. We were doing virtual for her. She's 5 years old. She's still learning how to socialize with other kids, and you know, we made a really tough decision that hey, you're gonna take virtual school now versus actually going to school and playing with kids. And how did you guys take that decision? Well, actually, you guys didn't, because they just took virtual classes away.
They did. So he was virtual all of last year. So he was virtual like everyone starting from March 2020 and
Hmm.
then all of last year. And stayed active even with things like marching band. Like we had squares chalked and taped out in our yard and I was videotaping marching. I mean, we were like
Wow.
all in doing as much as we could. And
Mhm.
at first virtual learning was actually good for Liam. Liam's an introvert. So he was okay. He was happy to get to, roll out of bed and turn on the computer. Um, it definitely does not work for every kid. And what we've discovered quickly was that it was a little too easy for an introverted person to become even more so, right? So our introvert became even more introverted.
More.
And then I think it was far worse for the extroverts. So extroverted kids, I think, had a much harder
They're
time.
going crazy. Yeah.
But here's what we discovered. So this year he went back in person because there was not a virtual option. And he has struggled a lot. He's had very physical symptoms of his anxiety, so it affects his stomach very badly. So he's missed some classes just from that, where his stomach is too upset to really make it either to school or through a day, and that's been hard. He feels he definitely feels like the school and the state doesn't care about the kids because everyone's getting sick, and with Omicron it's been especially bad. Teachers missing, half his class is empty. It's been very, very bad.
That's
um,
awesome.
but there's now this also dual reality happening within the schools. All of his friends that went to in-person school last year,
Mhm.
they experienced kind of almost regular high school. And so their social development and their friend groups proceeded as normal. So they're juniors now. And so they
Okay.
had their sophomore year in person, and it's their junior year in person, and they feel right on target. Liam, by far, feels like he is behind. He still feels like a freshman because he left. He didn't get to finish his freshman year because that's when COVID hit.
Mhm.
Sophomore year was virtual, so he didn't get to connect with anybody. And so now he's sort of dropped back into the social bucket, but half of those kids were there. So they built friendships in person and they did things and established routines in person. And now he feels on the outside. And that's
Yeah.
nothing against those kids. Like they're trying, he's trying,
Of
but
course.
he constantly says he feels behind socially, not just academically, but socially. But the one thing I want to say about that, because we are going to run short on time, but I, as a teacher, I just want to highlight, when we say, oh, they're behind, they're behind, they're behind, we're the ones saying they're behind. We could, as a society, just say, you know what, for this set of 5 years, we're going to just say these are the things these kids need to learn. And
Right.
this is our expectation. Like, I think trying to hold on to old systems that we put into place anyway, it's not like there's some outside force saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is it. So we're holding them to standards that we have control over, which it confuses me a little. So I keep telling Liam not to sweat it. Just don't sweat it. We're just not going to let the anxiety kill us.
Oh man, it's a tough scenario for sure.
How
Tough.
was how was your daughter's adjustment going from virtual to in person?
Man, once we saw her go into that class for the first time, um, and then do her activities in person. When she came out, I remember going picking her up, and obviously, me and my wife were so excited, right? We are like, "Oh my God, how was your first day of school?" For anybody that's a parent, they kind of have an idea what we went through, but she was so excited. She was so happy. So it made us feel worse because we said for a whole year we had to virtual, and her social skills weren't the best. um so it was kind of tough because we felt that we might have made the wrong decision, especially because it doesn't affect kids as much as an adult with health issues.
Sure.
But then at the end of the day, who was making the right decisions, who was making the bad decisions? We're all new to this. I don't know how you can become an expert from, day and night. You just have to roll with the punches, experience, and do whatever is best for your family. As simple as that.
Yeah, and be kind to each other. I mean, I think some of this, and this might be great for us to talk about next week when we talk some about parenthood in general. I feel like there's that old story of like, is it better to be a stay-at-home mom when your kids are little or work? Right? And there are studies that like support both things. In fact, most studies will support certainly that it doesn't hurt a child to go to daycare and to go to preschool and all that, right?
Right.
I happened to make the choice to stay home with my kids as much as I could. It was more about me than them. I was selfish. I just wanted to be with them. But that kind of reminds me of this, like either choice you make, you're going to think, did I make the wrong one? Should I have done it a different way? And I think we need to be kind to ourselves and to each other. Like if nobody's aiming to hurt our own children or each other's children. We are all making the best choices we can with the information we have at the time. So I really I just feel so passionate about that. I just want us to be nice to each other. Try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? Nobody's purposely making a wrong choice. And then nobody knows what a wrong or right choice is. There's no crystal ball. But I do want to encourage you that kids are resilient. They just really are. And she's so young, and I know that personality on that kid. She's gonna have no trouble. I think she'll be bounced back, and this will be like, a faint memory someday. That was just my light.
Look great.
Now I'm even brighter.
No, yeah, I think you're 100% right. We'll see what happens. We have to roll with the punches, learn. But I mean, we definitely love to hear from other people, like their experiences, what they gone through. Are we any advice for us as far as what we're going through? Any advice that we could give them if they want a more, personal comments or personal information? They can always reach out to us. We're here for that. Love to talk to you about it because you're not alone. We're going through the same thing. These are, real conversations that we're having here. Yeah.
And we're all tired, we're all tired. So all we can do is just try and help each other
How
out.
tired? Like fatigue tired? Because if you might need to go take a test over here.
I've been testing all the time. So far, so good.
Cool.
All right. So next time we'd like to talk about, I think, just parenthood in general. We are parenting in different stages of life, but we're going to talk about some of the subtopics underneath that. But if you are a parent or know a parent or have a parent, this will be for you.
Awesome. Perfect. Can't wait. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks.